Morning, Tea and Trails. It's Bryn Emmons here, not Edwina's Bryn. You did read a review out of mine once before, so thanks very much for that, Gary. I just thought I'd say hello from Blackburn, that's Blackburn, Melbourne, not the UK, in Australia, from the Runners Paradise Running Club. I'm trying to bring the Tea and Trails podcast down under, so introducing everyone at the Runners Paradise to Melbourne, Australia, having emigrated here a couple of months ago. Hope you're all well. Thanks for the pod. It's always good to listen to whilst I'm on my jogs. I'm just halfway through a little 16k around Blackburn Lakes. Cheers, guys.
What were you muttering on about? Your tabs?
Too many tabs.
Too many tabs. I always have loads of tabs open. I always have one tab, some sort of shopping I've added to the basket, and I'm pressing, check it out.
You know what's in my basket? It's so sad, a toaster and a kettle.
Oh, is this to go with the new kitchen?
Yeah. Well, this is the dilemma, see. So we bought a dual-lit toaster. Then we thought, well, if the elements go, we can fix them and then replace them. But to buy the elements, it's more expensive to buy the elements than actually to buy a new toaster. And we got 13 years out of those elements, but being economical, if we bought a cheap toaster and got, say, 5 years out of it, we're winning big time.
Have you gone for a 2-slice or a 4-slice?
Oh, 4-slice, Eddie.
Always.
Well, this is the problem. Our 4-slicer is now only a 2-slicer. And it's sad times. I love a breakfast. So if you got a breakfast and you got a family of 4, everyone needs 2 slices of toast.
No one wants waiting.
Too much time.
No one wants waiting.
Too much admin.
I was in a military family growing up, Gary, and we used to have people to stay a lot, soldiers around, big breakfasts. We had a 12-slice toaster. It had a double ding, and then it used to go,
doesn't even exist.
Tick, 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 tick. It must have been like a cater. It was the best thing. When I used to come home from school, I used to put 6 slices in, so just one side, ding, put it down, minute and a half, and I used to sit there, the happiest person, ladling the jam onto my 6 slices of toast.
Do you think there's anybody out there who doesn't like toast?
They're not my friend.
Lisa was in Tesco yesterday, and this is terrible chat. She was in Tesco yesterday, and you know they have the people who are repping a new product. Well, it wasn't even a new product. It was
especially if it's like a bit of cheese or something.
This was chocolate spread.
Around.
This was chocolate spread.
Oh no!
And the rep, oh God, I love chocolate spread. But the rep said it's pretty slow going on the chocolate spread stand. So Lisa came on with 4 jars of nutty chocolate spread, and it is a good brand. I'm not going to give them a shout out.
Oh, okay.
Very posh brand.
Very posh, but what are we talking? Cadbury's? No, there's a doggy that's just appeared. You don't normally get out of your bed and come and say hello. What's news?
But this is why I've kind of strayed off the path for the dual-lit. I was in a cafe.
Oh, sorry. Yes, that's what we're
and I saw they had a Tefal toaster, and I thought, wow, if they're using a Tefal toaster in a calf, that's getting some work. And it stood up to the test of time. I'm going to try Tefal.
What colour?
Black, to match the appliances.
You've gone all dark. Is your kitchen all black? Just
no, it's
red
sage.
Underfloor. Oh, you've gone real fancy.
Lisa's made all those crucial decisions.
She's a designer.
Anyway, welcome and hello to the Tea and Trails podcast. And thanks for the intro, Bryn. Not your
When
Bryn.
you said Bryn, I was like, at last, he's listened. He's sent an intro. This is so unlike him.
1-star review and an intro. But no, this Bryn is all the way from down under. Yeah, thanks for spreading the word too. I'll have to check our Aussie downloads. Incredible. Please keep those intros coming. Email them to hello@teaandtrails.com. Kudos, high fives, big hugs and slop kisses to all our patrons and everyone who has joined Patreon over the last week. I saw a screen grab from, must have been like the race briefing from the Tea and Trails Ultra, and literally all of my content.
All of your content is banned at the race, but it's a picture of me. I was like, do not do any of this. And it's like, is this just actually for me? Shane's gone, Eddie, control yourself.
I had to tear up our script. Anyway, for the price of a cuppa, you can help keep the lights hot and the mics on and save big time on all your trail running essentials. Loads of brands offering great discounts over on Patreon. And don't forget, if you would like a snood or a bobble hat, then you need to add your address. No address, no goodies.
Thanks to X Miles Precision Fuel Hydration, Harrier Trail Running, Phoenix Light UK, and Protein Rebel for sponsoring this week's show. X Miles is a family-owned, independent endurance sports retailer providing nutritional goods, apparel, and accessories to help us athletes perform and recover at our best. X Miles offers a wide range of high-quality products, and the team of nutrition experts, cyclists, runners, and outdoor enthusiasts can provide expert advice and guidance to help you reach your goals. Whether you're a seasoned athlete or just getting started, X Miles is the perfect place to find everything you need to succeed. Listeners can get 10% store credit at www.xmiles.co.uk via the link in our show notes. If you fancy a Teen Trails cat, pop over to your Goku projects. If you're a Patreon, you receive 20% off. If you're looking for any discount codes, then head over to Patreon or www.teaandtrails.com or check out the show notes. Oh, Gary, I did something bad last week. I never, this is a confession. I feel this is a safe space. You and me, no one else listens. I listened back to the podcast. I've not done that for
why?
years.
Oh, how far did you go back?
No, I listened to this week's podcast.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, I didn't go back. Oh my
5 star?
gosh. Delving back in the archives. Just a chat so far. Oh, Gary. What on earth am I going on about? Who is this woman? She's a crazy lady. So I critiqued myself. I gave myself some notes. You're going to notice a more mature Eddie at this show.
Let's see how that goes.
Less dirty laughing, less crass comments, Eddie. Come on. You're sensible.
That's what we tune in for, surely.
I'm going Radio 4. It was 2 Radio 1 for me. I'm going Radio 4. No, I'm only joking. It was good. Well done. Good edit. I noticed the bits you edited out.
You made some more notes.
Oh, I'm already going to talk about my ring. My ring's just alerted me. It's so unhappy, Gary. 3 hours, 43 minutes sleep last night.
I was going to show you my Garmin, but I didn't want to be too bragging because
you got some good sleep stats going on.
I was over 8 hours last night.
Oh, I feel like
85% it gave me.
It gives me a bit of that PTSD from when you have newborn kids and you function daily on like 3 or 4 hours sleep. Yeah. Anything with a 5 in them, okay? But 3 or 4 hours broken sleep. Oh, I just remember those mornings. And Bryn used to get up, have a shower, and go off to work. And the hatred that used to stem from my eyeballs as I was like, I'll cope here then, don't worry about me, I'll be fine. And then I used to wait for like 5 o'clock when he used to leave the office, and I'd be tracking on the iPhone tracker going, get home now, don't
go to Greg's, no KFCs.
Dr. Greg's, where are you left? And he'd be like, I'm sorry I got late meeting. And I'd be like, oh my God, he'd come in and I'd just be like, how you doing? What's been happening? No races, bit of recovery week for you. I had a little deep dive into your Strava on Sunday just to check I'd beaten you on the old tallies.
You must have smashed me this week. I can't see yours. You're like dark.
I go dark. I'd love to share my Strava, but I'm banned. I'm banned for good reason.
Fair enough.
Yeah, you started light, but then you ended up with a big old mash fest of a weekend.
Exactly, because I'm always mindful that trying to do these double big days or 2 big days during the week at least, that, I'm going to cram lots of miles in. So I don't mind if I start late, but then that always coincides with, because I want to get the podcast done at the latest, ideally on Wednesday evening. Sometimes it's Thursday. I am fighting fires Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I don't really have the bandwidth to gym it, run a session and do the podcast too. So it always does, it does seem to start light. But I did my session. I'm not too sure what day it was. Actually, it was 4 4s, 4 2s, 4 1s, 4 30 seconds, decreasing the incline, but increasing the speed. About 30 minutes of graft in total. But how much of that graft, after you called me out last week, how much of that graft was in zone 4? Nobody knows.
Oh, you didn't look. I always look. Sometimes it's disappointing. It's like 12 minutes. You're like, what?
All I know is I'm wrecked by the time I get out.
Yeah, red hot and sweaty. Let's just go with that.
More quality time with Lagatha on the treadmill, though.
Oh, you lucky devil.
Not very good if you're going to... I don't want to spoil it, but potential husband. Sad times. That's all I'm saying. If you're Series 3, 4, 5, Vikings. Doms, I went sparring with George. Well, in our back garden, we were sparring with George. He absolutely loved... He loved taking chunks out of his dad. I'm just so, literally, I'm not very big, so I'm not very heavy, and I'm not very strong. So the combination of a testosterone
Are you going to
Fueled.
bring the gloves to the ultra? Are
No.
we going to have some?
I'm a lover, not a fighter. I don't like all that kind of stuff. Yeah, he loved it. He absolutely loved giving me a good old beating on Thursday afternoon. Lakes trip on Saturday. It was, oh my goodness me, it was so hot. As we did the first climb, the route was over Capels, High Spy. We thought we'd do the Newlands Memorial route in reverse because Robbo and Aaron had done that already. And then we dropped down into Honister, then Buttermere, pick up the Lake 100 route back to Keswick. The first section going over the Capels, oh wow, it was relentless. The heat. I think I thought, because I'll fill up the water at Honister, I'll only start with 2 bottles for that first 10 miles. That'll be enough. Everybody was empty. We like literally staggered into Honister, raided the fridge. Iron Brew, ice cold Iron Brew, really, really hit the spot. And they've got a little, it's quite therapeutic. They've got like a recycler at Honister, so you crush your cans and put it in the big mesh bin. Love that. But I don't know if this is even legally allowed or they don't want people to get free tap water. But the guy in the cafe, even though we bought some stuff, said they don't have any drinking water on site. He called it filtered water, so I'm not too sure if he was just being careful with his actual description. Giving them some grace, if everybody who passed through Honister wanted to fill up their litre of water and they were on a metre, wow, that's big bucks. But then when you go to Buttermere, fun times in Buttermere, as much water as you want in Buttermere.
When I stopped at my emergency cafe 2 miles from home the other long run, and I walked in, I was buying a can of Coke, and he immediately said, "Do you want your bottles filled up?" And I was like, "This is the place for me."
In Buttermere, it was so busy. It was a 10 in 10, which I think is 10 summits in 10 hours. So we kept seeing these guys popping up. We think it was those. There could have been loads of different events going on during the day. So I always like that when you're on the fells. I love being on the fells, but when you drop into a little busy community, and especially a day like Saturday where it was super sunny, ice creams, cans of pop. Then we picked up the Lake 100 route back into Keswick, and I don't know if you do the same, but I was thinking about, we always talk about what food we're going to eat after the run, which pie we're going to get from Reged.
Last hour, only in the last hour, you're allowed to turn your thoughts to...
No, I'm thinking about what I'm going to eat on the way home as I'm eating my second breakfast in Reged in the morning. It consumes so much time. And then I even think about previous meals I've had, little fond memories of little meals we've had. Oh, goodness me. Yeah, do that all the time. And I don't want to trigger the meat eaters, but I had a sausage roll. My food of choice on the way home was a sausage roll. And in my observation, price increase. Yeah, fair enough.
Okay.
But then I'm sure they've done that. When they shrink the product? Like a Magnum now. You get a box of Magnums used before. Now it's 3. I'm sure they've reduced the size of the sausage roll by roughly 10% and increased the cost. It ruined my day. Sunday brought the mood round a bit. It was 11 out of 10. We did a Sedgefield Harriers, Chris, and probably a team of people actually from Sedgefield Harriers organised this. The parish churches run. I'm not too sure what the official name was. Oh, it was awesome. So you did 5 or 6 churches, 18 miles, a loop around the varying villages, starting and finishing in Sedgefield. Whoever made the cup of tea in Fishburn, I don't think they're a listener. I'm pretty confident of that. I've thought about that cup of tea I had in Fishburn at least 15 times since Sunday. And we are now Tuesday morning. I don't know what they did.
What made it so good?
Well, first of all, it was the big classic old school. When you were we didn't really serve cups of tea at school, but it was a big like aluminium style old teapot.
I know what you mean.
It must have made like every little
I need
dint.
this in my house for breakfast.
Yeah, all the little knocks and dints in it, all those little cups of tea it's made. You can just kind of feel the heritage, all the little stories. I think that was the starting point. There must have been 10 tea bags in the bottom of their perfect brew.
Probably from 2 years ago.
Probably. I remember just sitting there. I had some lemon drizzle cake, carrot cake, lemon drizzle, 10 out of 10, carrot cake. I like a bit of fruit in my cakes, but I think maybe could have eased off on the old raisins and sultanas, if I'm being critical. But the cup of tea made up for that. And a bacon sandwich too, so I have just like a smorgasbord of food. And then on Sunday, when we came home, because I hadn't seen Lisa all weekend, so we went to see him for a lovely seaside stroll, collecting sea glass. And then we went to the Chippy. So I didn't weigh myself on Monday morning because I knew that would be sad times for my weekly weighing. But yeah, lovely, 18 miles, really cruisy pace, apart from I was mindful that I need to get back to go and see my family. But yeah, we dodged all the rain, all the dodgy weather that was on its way. Chippy tea, sensational weekend. I'm back on Amazon. Lisa got an email kind of tempting her back in. 30-day trial. We're going to smash Clarkson's Farm and cancel the subscription before it renews again. because I can't think of anything else I want to watch on Amazon. And I must admit, this series, I'm a 7
not
out of
as
10.
good.
Goodness me, there's a scene where he's basically I don't think I'm spoiling anything. He's trialing out tractors. There's no drama there. But there must be over £1 million worth of tractors. And I'm thinking, how many farmers can do that? You're flying the flag for these guys. And I just thought, you know what? I'm not really connecting with this. And so, yeah, currently 7 out of 10. But yeah, in the meantime, screw you, Jeff Bezos. I am... I'm fighting. I'm taking on the man.
He's going to be sending some moody emails.
He might jam my Amazon membership, so I can't watch it. On the TV front, did you like Bob Dylan? You're a Dylan fan?
No. Well, this is going to be awkward.
No, Esme and George, totally unfamiliar with Bob Dylan. And I'm not a Bob Dylan super fan, but we watched the film Complete Unknown with, was it Timothy
Shamalama.
Shamalama. Fantastic. Really good story. Dylan, he doesn't do himself any favours in the relationship stakes, but wow, just to hit the ground running, what a absolute genius timing and just a good story.
Talk about a good story. Bryn and I sat down. We went to go back into The Diplomat. Have you watched that on Netflix?
No.
Season 2. We're way behind. We've not watched anything for a long time. So he put it on. I just sat there. I picked up the newspaper and started reading some sort of thing, which meant that's big. That at 9 o'clock, he's like, "Do you want to watch something else?" I was like, "No, but so much talking, Gary. There's so much talking. I'm not watching
like
Netflix
a bit of dialogue.
talking."
Oh,
nope.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Nope, I'm not watching it. I'm watching it. So we went a lot more highbrow, no dialogue.
What is highbrow?
We had a quick scroll. Dallas Cowgirls season 2.
Oh, I was going to go below deck. But no,
I can't tell you how excited Bryn was when he saw there was a season 2. We were watching it on different levels. Then I thought, yeah, Bryn and I, we really are watching this on different levels because I'm watching this for like, my God, they're amazing dancers. Look at their flexibility and stuff. And let's just say he's watching it for...
in a glaze.
in a 9 p.m. day. But we found something else that we could just stare at and I love it. They are athletes, these. Like they are, their flexibility and what they do. But what we spend the whole time doing is why are they putting themselves through all this for? It's terrible. So if you want to watch something that's slightly traumatic, triggering, but fun, go for it.
Where did I see it? I did see a new Below Deck. Maybe it's an old Below Deck.
Oh yeah, so loads of them. I thought, download for our camping trip when we go. Kids,
oh yeah,
no
what
TV
a great idea.
for a week, off you go, and then we'll have to go down a bit. Hey, come in, the cocktails. I don't know how to make this cocktail I've made. It's so strong. They're all in the jacuzzi, so drunk. I'm going to get in with them. Then the captain's going to come and say,
you've seen the same trailer as me.
I don't like that behaviour and I'm going to be fired.
Have a bit of ranty week again.
You have had a ranty week. I don't think I had any rage this week, which is very... I did have Monday morning rage. I'll save that for what's coming up.
It's because I've been listening to this other podcast that you put me onto, and they just seem to rant about KFC and hotels and stuff like that. I'm being influenced.
So, yeah, it was one of my biggest ever training weeks. I've done more miles and climbing, much more like hours, but just being at home and juggling everything. Let's be real about this. I ended it at the weekend lying on the sofa naked with just my dressing gown loosely pulled around me for a little bit of dignity.
What a sight.
I was so hot, but my skin was like on fire because it was so hot, but I felt so sick and I was like, I just need to lie on this sofa and just maroon myself like an enormous beach whale. And Bryn just kept saying, can I get you anything? Can I get you anything?
Was this after a heat session or was it something else?
More squash. It was so hot. It was so humid. So you want some deets? Here we go. So also I didn't really plan it to be this big. So I front loaded my sessions at the front of the week because Bryn was away. And so that means that I'm totally in charge of everyone knows the score. You have to do all the school runs, you have to do all the clubs, all the taxi services. So it meant that 3 nights I had to run on the treadmill in the evening. Oh, Gary, going out to the garage at like 6:30.
Ooh.
Oh, this is what I always, when I had a proper job, full-time job, it was always 6:30 was when we used to meet to go to the track or something.
Yeah.
But I was also younger and I hadn't been up since 5.
Well, I think about this, imagine going to do it in the evening, but 90% of people have to do it in the evening. So it's kind of first world.
I would always train in the morning though. If I had a choice, I'd prefer to get up early. And no, you're an evening, aren't you?
2 o'clock,
anyway,
3 o'clock. That's
if
my
I'm
session.
going to run on the treadmill, I'm not running easy, Gary, because I'd rather stick pins in my eyes. I'm going to do a session. And so I did both my sessions Monday and Wednesday with a recovery shuffles on Tuesday. Oh no, I did an hour. I did run on Tuesday on the treadmill too, but I just did an hour uphill, which I love. You and I love just an uphill, 10%, 4 to 5 miles an hour, depending on as I warmed up. Feels pretty easy in the groove, but it's a bit of a grind. Your calves start shouting at you, but caught up on a lot of YouTube, so I enjoyed that. So I did flatter, shorter session at 5%, bit of hills, and then I did a longer tempo session. I met a bit of honesty there, Gary, that I'm absolutely sure my treadmill is running not at what the speed is. Can I ghost myself and pretend it's that? Because I'm so slow, Gary. But then I look at my times on the road and they're really slow as well.
So how would you do that?
I looked up how to measure your treadmill. Like, can you check that your treadmill belt is running at the right speed?
Yeah.
Because actually it doesn't reflect the same pace outside is not, I don't get a tempo heart rate for that as I do on the treadmill. So anyway, I was like, Eddie, you've just got to go on your heart rate and ignore what speed it says on the treadmill. Go on your heart rate. Did some longer. I love a longer. I ghosted myself as well at the beginning of this. I said I was going to do 15, 8 and 2 4s. And then but I knew it wasn't. I knew I was going to do 2 longer ones. So I did 15, 10, 8, 6, 4 at top end of tempo, basically. Not quite tempo, just below it, just teetering on the lactate coming. But then I really find the breathe. I try and lower my scapulars and breathe and just bring the heart rate. So mine's like 160 is when I start creating lactate. Around 160 is when I'm like, oh, and then I can't control it and it gets higher and higher. But if I can keep it below 160, I can run at that pace for like a good probably hour, probably longer in a race as well. But I really find if I try and really concentrate on lowering my shoulder blades down my back and like pulling up tall, I can get my heart rate to go. Can you do this like 3 or 4 beats and just keep it down? No, you should try it.
Fighting fires.
But I didn't want to slow down. I was already running slower. So I was like, try and bring it down.
Is there a rest between the 10 to 15?
Yeah. So I think I had a minute, maybe 2 minutes. I think I actually, do you know what I think I did? I was mainly shouting at children because they're coming in and out of the garage wanting stuff. But I tend to get my heart rate down to about 135 and then I just jump back on when it's got down there. By the time I've had a drink and stuff, it's about a minute, 90 seconds.
What shoes you wearing on the treadmill? You carbon plates?
No, because I don't have any, Gary. So I just wear I've got one pair at the moment. I've got one pair of North Face and my trail shoes.
A friend of mine, he said he was just running. We all take our carbon plated shoes out when we're doing our sessions, but he was like, he was going to train without them and then save the good stuff for race day.
My legs feel so much better if I do a session in carbon plated shoes afterwards than they do when you don't. The impact is so much less, so that is why I would wear them. So I'd had 3 days of pretty good sessions, finishing quite late and then having to get up early to get the dogs out. So I was like finishing my runs at 7:30, then having to go and cook tea and then having to get up at like 5:15 to get the dogs out again. Oh, by Wednesday, I did not feel good. So I was going to do a long run before, I think it was Wednesday or Thursday. I'd sort of kept my diary clear. But by the time it came round to it, again, I'd sort of talked myself into actually, I'll do my work and I'm just going to do it a bit later. Then I had an idea, Gary. Had this idea of this horrendous thing I could do that sounded so horrendous. I really didn't want to do it. So then I had to do it. This is a bit like how I ended up entering the spine. I was like, it's so horrendous, I never want to do it. And so my hand like creeped to the entry button. I often I've run this it's 18 miles back roads, and I thought I'll run there, and you know what I'm going to do then? I'm going to run back again as well. I'm going to make this into the most horrendous day. But
what's the cost? Like, kudos for doing it.
Wait.
I need to say kudos for doing it, because I could never get myself up to do that. I've ran home before, but not that kind of volume. But then the cost afterwards, for me personally, that would be just like game over.
Okay, here's the thinking. Here's the thinking behind it. You know, my next 2 races are 2 200s, of which in the middle of those 2 200s, you're going to meet your maker. They are so horrible. They are. You don't want to be there. You hate it. You hate life. You've got to do it. You've got to spend a lot of time with yourself. I haven't had any races all year. Have I? No, I haven't had any races. I've been away and done like various long days, but all my long days have been lovely because they've been with friends and they've been like fun. I've never had any moment in those long days when I've been like, oh, this is awful, I don't want to be there. I felt I wanted to get a little bit of that in before kids break up, we go on holiday. Potentially I might not get that in, because I have got some more long days planned, but they're going to be with friends. They're going to be joyful. So I thought this is a way to spend, it ended up being just over 5 hours with myself doing something I don't want to do, breaking up in the middle like a checkpoint. So having to eat food and not being, and then having to do that thing where the kids got in the car and they drove off and they were like, see you at home. And I was like, no. But if I tell Bryn I'm going to do this, he'd be like 100% supportive. He brought my sandwiches and a flask of tea for me for the the checkpoint.
Legend.
But he wouldn't bring me home then. He'd be like, no, this is what you said you do. Like, off he drove. There was no like not even a wave goodbye. He just like left me in the car park. And I was like, the way I handled it, because you said like, would this not like wipe you out with this? So my rules were I had to eat and drink really well. And I had to go at a really low heart rate, like 200-mile heart rate. So, and it wasn't allowed to go for me over like one really low 140s. If it went above like 145, so into like any sort of like, I had to slow down, but I had to run all the hills. And it's not that hilly, but it's just like up and down all the way, like little highland lanes, basically. And it is nearly all on road. Then this is what I hadn't factored into my legs. That I think the first like 3 miles I run through the tracks and then I get onto like the little back roads. So it's basically like 15 miles on road one way and then the same coming back. And it's so 36-mile round trip, Gary. And on the way back, it happened to be the hottest day in Scotland that we'd recorded so far. I think it was about like 28 degrees.
Yeah.
I'd taken 3 bottles and I knew on the way back I was going to stop at a village shop and treat myself to a Coke and a Solero. Is there anything better? Oh no, I've told you. Okay, so I bought 3 things at the village shop. Coke, Solero. Can you guess the other thing that I bought?
Well, I would get a Magnum or something like that. But
so I've got my Solero because I'm
but I think I'd double that.
Oh, you get 2 ice creams.
See, I would love chocolate, Kit Kat, stuff like that, but not on a hot day.
Okay. Go back to that thought. I did. I did, because I was so hungry, Gary, because what happened was when I met Bryn at the halfway point, I'd forgotten half my fuel.
Oh, fair enough.
So I had cheese and pickle sandwich, 2 packets of crisps, and a flask of tea. That was not enough.
Twirl.
No. It is a dense bar. You might not guess it, but it's a really good one to have. No. It was a lion.
Oh.
Because it's a really good one. This is a top tip.
It's not too chewy.
No, because it doesn't melt, because it's so solid.
Yeah.
It's not like a Twix where the chocolate or a Kit Kat. So I broke it in half, shoved it in my... Anyway, it definitely saved me, because the latter end of that run, Gary, I met my maker. It was so hot. My kit looked down. So I'd given myself a fresh pair of kit for the run home. It looked like I'd been swimming.
Oh, you had a freshen up too. I love it.
I'd had as I say, I took the edge off, Gary, with a wet wipe and a little spray of deodorant. I'd had a freshen up, changed my kit totally, re-lubed, because I'm doing this seriously. It looked like I was dripping, Gary. It was disgusting. The humidity, there wasn't enough fluid. So I got to about 5 miles home and I don't often crack. I sent a message to Bryn and went, I'm so cooked. I'm standing at this bridge just looking at this river. I'm going to dive in. I'm not doing it anymore. But it was an emergency call out. I just was like, I have to share with him that I am really hurting now. It wasn't my legs. It was just so hot. I had no moisture left in me. And I still had 5 miles. I'd left the house at 9, watched the kids do their sport, and it was now approaching like 6:45. So I had been outside all day on my feet. Like, oh, this is great. This is proper. I should have made a reel, because it was proper dirty, horrible. Like I was shuffling along the lanes, and I'm sure a few cars went past that must have saw me in the morning and thought, oh my God, this tramp, shall we pick her up? I don't think she has a home. It was not my finest hour. I'd promised myself I'd run up all the hills, and the last little hill, Gary, I had a little crack and I did a little walk for the
Got your
last
little white
bit.
flag out for the last hill.
I was like 2 or 3 steps. I was like, my legs feel like they're gonna, I just can't do it. Anyway.
Were you not famished? I know you said you had to.
I was just absolutely. This is when I got home. I went, someone, so sweet. They can see me running up the lane home. You can see just over the hedge someone's head when they're coming back from their run. Middle child. He cycles down to me. I can't even speak. I'm like, what must they think of their mother? My eyes are like, they've got midges and flies like all over me. And he's like, come on, mum, I'm going to get the gate for you. I'm going to get the gate. Oh, I go and I just stand in the door. I just take all my clothes off and just stand there like, someone get my dress again. I just need to lie on the sofa. Started to feel sick, Gary. So I thought, oh no, I can't do this. I can't hit this. And thought, but I've got these new sickness tablets. We always say we can't practice this because we never feel sick.
Yeah.
So I thought, right, find them. So I was just lying there, everyone in the house running around trying to find where I'd put these sickness tablets. And we found them. And I took them. 7:25, I took one. 7:33, the sickness went.
Wow.
Better. I was like, oh, thank God for the sickness tablet. And also, I'm so glad that they work. This is good to know. So it was all kind of worth it. Anyway, it was, as you said, it was a bit of a ridiculous thing to do. Is like, I probably would never put that into somebody's training plan. But I've done all sorts. I've done so much training now, sometimes to find a new training stimuli, to do something that's really horrendous, to put yourself in that, how much do you want it zone? Like it wasn't about the aerobic, I can jog all day. It wasn't about that. It was about being out. And I've said this before, haven't I? It's about being out, doing something you really don't want to be doing. I wanted to get in that car. I wanted to go home and have ice creams. What were they playing? Oh, Game of Life. Love a classic. They're all playing Game of Life with Iron Brew and crisps.
But they're all still friends, though. No, it's Monopoly that ends family.
Oh, someone had already, Rory had already, that's why he biked down to meet me. He'd already tapped out and gone, oh, this is rubbish. And I had to spend hours with myself, just myself, not being like, and it's not exactly an inspiring route. There isn't nice hills. There's no nice views. It's just like, and every point I get to, I'd be like, oh my God, I've still got such a long way to go. Oh my God, I've got nothing to think about apart from.
Good mindset.
Such a good mindset.
People sometimes they do, like if they're training for a conventional road marathon, they'll do a marathon in training. Then they feel when they do the race, I've done it, I can do it. So I understand the mindset side of it.
I can understand that totally, yeah. So it was like, God, that was one of the hardest things I've ever. Even though, like, just the whole like, and the whole like draining, the heat, the like, just not wanting to be there and having to cope with that constant battle of like walk. You could go slower, and me being like, no, I'm sticking at this heart rate. Come on. I tell you what, though, I was faster on the way home, even though I went through all that turmoil on the way home. Because on the way there, it was fine. I just jogged and listened to a few podcasts, and on the way back, even though it was like struggle street, I was 3 minutes fast.
And is the route, this is probably getting too much into the details, is the route equivalent elevation profile to the race you're doing?
No, very hard. Yeah, no, because I'd need to go up into the hills really more. Yeah. But there is running on the Race Across Scotland as well. You know, there is some like sections on fire track on track as well. So I kind of was like... And
would you be happy with the pace that you did on Sunday?
If I held that pace for 200 miles, I wasn't happy. Like on the way back, I was like, I had that classic ultra brain activity going of, you are so slow. You are such a miss. Look at the state of you. Look at you. You think you're a runner. You're not. But it's all part of like the coming out. And then, so the whole reason I decided to do this was because I wanted to we had nothing planned at the weekend, and I wanted to lie in bed the next day and not have to get up and go for a run and have the tiredest legs and just enjoy some yard work at home and being with the kids. And so though it was horrendous, the next day I had a cup of tea brought to me in bed. I had a little read of my Kindle. I didn't do the dishwasher. I didn't take the dogs out. I just had a lovely morning pottering around, picking a few weeds, token bit of gardening, and then got bored quite quickly. And then, oh my God, I did a bit of sweeping, Gary, and my arms are still sore. Don't know how the gardeners do it.
No, it'll be awesome, right? If you could, so my neighbours, I wouldn't really say they're active people. I think a few of them play golf. I would, in a heartbeat, if I said, Michael, you do my garden, and if I could do his exercise, but then somehow transfer it to him.
Yeah, I could do everybody in the surrounding areas exercise.
Jet
not
wash
a
my
problem.
drive. I'll do you 20 minutes a day all week.
Oh, I love a bit of a jet wash.
Oh,
I'll
God,
come
it's
and
so
jet wash.
filthy. It's a filthy job.
Oh, yeah, filthy one. Anyway, yeah, I did go for a jog then the next day, just in the evening. I had a lot of replenishment of fluids to do first. Put it off. But I was like, I so want to get to this arbitrary target I'd set myself for the week. I had 4 more miles to go. And so I went out and thought, but I didn't go out till like 6:30 at night. Put it off. And I felt fine. Do you know, I felt better than I did the day before.
Wow.
What is that all about? So my secret, my little Perth Eddie's Ultra Challenge. And I said to Bryn, I will never, ever do that again. That was awful. I never, ever, remind me, I'm never running that route twice in a day. But it shows how much I've come along as well, because I ran that route quite a lot in the winter. And by the time, and that was my long run route. So now I when I ran it just once, I know that's mindset as well, because I knew I was going to have to run back.
Yeah.
I ran it 5 minutes. No, that's a lie. Maybe like 8 minutes slower than I normally run it, but I was absolutely fine. Yeah, it shows how much stronger I am. And those sort of sessions, if you're going to do something big and scary, set yourself something which you really don't want to do.
Yeah.
Go out.
Well, it'd be such a shock, wouldn't it, if the first time you did something you really didn't want to do was on race day. So I think you have to get uncomfortable.
Yeah, getting uncomfortable. I certainly did that, and I apologise to my family for the incident with the dressing gown and lying on the sofa.
You're used to it.
Yeah, you know they didn't bat an eyelid. You're right, Mum. They just came and sat down next to me and were like, "Do you want to play Uno?"
Well, when I think of like when I grew up, my mum and dad weren't ever doing reverse lunges in the front room. You know, it's quite.
But do you know what I love is like all the other like sporting parents, and they were like, "So you're gonna run?" I didn't say, I'm gonna run back, but I still am a running kit. And then they were just like, "All right, have a good." Like it's just like Eddie's just this horrible, slightly smelly mum. Probably don't get too close to her, and she just does crazy things, and the kids just wave and like off they go, and it's just so normal for them.
It's great.
I was wiped out on Sunday. Let's not lie. And I'm having a slow start to the week, but this week's going to be mad for us anyway, isn't it, Gareth? So
busy.
It is worse. Busy.
Fighting fires. My goodness me. Fighting fires.
Fighting fires, but we can do it. We can do it.
Breathe and believe. Thanks, Precision Fuel and Hydration, for supporting Brew. The coaches, their website and newsletter are such good source of knowledge, articles to read and YouTube content to binge on too. On YouTube, you can learn how to fuel an ultramarathon, what pro runners carry on race day, and how to nail your marathon prep. I had a big flow gel drop at the weekend. Flow gel heaven. I think apart from a few other kind of real foodie bits and bobs, my Lakeland 100 nutrition. I can't scoff it though on my kind of big weekend runs because I'm trying to keep it for the Lakeland 100. So I have to buy like jelly babies and other stuff like that just to keep the cupboards full. But yeah, pretty much everything is there. And that's my tactic. Soft flask full of flow gel. And then a soft flask full of, if it's a super hot day, then I'm going to have to need more liquid. But historically, I would have 500 ml between checkpoints, but have a spare soft flask just in case it gets a bit hot out there. All right, we had an email. This email prompted a discussion on rest, and where to fit it into the plan. Morning. Thanks for the great advice in the last episode. You mentioned when you don't want to run, maybe that's the body saying it's time to rest. I am deep in Lakeland 100 training, and Saturday, it must have taken me 8 hours to get out of the house.
Join the club.
Whoosh, that is some procrastinating. Yeah, we've all done that. Well, maybe not 8 hours. This is not like me at all. So I've done my Saturday long run and now going into a double rest day and already feeling much better. I may even do 3 days. Thanks, Ian.
The double rest day, we've talked about this, the double and the triple. If you have, we talked about having a whisper of a little bit of a niggle before, or if you feel like you've dug yourself a super hole. So I was super prepared after my 36-mile self-indulgent ultra that I might need to take a double or a triple rest day. That can such a boost in your hormones. And also if you've got a little bit of an injury, quite often if it's just come on, it can feel so much better with 2 or 3 days rest. And in the big picture, that's nothing. So good work, Ian. Good work. Excellent question. A rest day is a rest day. We're going to try not to argue, aren't we, Gary? We're going to keep it like pleasurable.
Well, I sometimes bring, especially now I'm trying to do these double days, these double big runs, I'll give myself some grace if I need a rest day during the week, because I still know there's going to be huge volume.
It really depends as well where you are on your running journey. You are kind of a hardened, every tendon and muscle in your body is
I'm like a twiglet.
Absolutely. You're like a twig. Then, well, no, you're more like a sort of concrete slab. There's no breaking for you. You've done so much running. If you're quite early on into your running journey as well, the rest day is really crucial for that healing as well, because as your bones and your muscles and your tissues, ligaments and tendons develop as well, they do need that rest. If you've been running for like 20 plus years as well, the body does tend to become, very resilient.
This is fundamentally, and hopefully you'll agree with me, your rest is when your body repairs and recovers to go again.
Totally. Rest days, why do you want them? You touched on it. They are training. They are training. They're not just slacking off and going to a pub. They can be. They are what makes you stronger. They heal those little micro tears that just a little bit of DOMS you might be carrying. They do help if you've got a little bit of a niggle, perhaps when the whispers start. One of the big things I think that we're only just learning about now, this is quite recent, is that resetting that nervous system and getting the hormonal balance right as well. I think like 10 years ago, we wouldn't have even thought about that. But allowing that cortisol to come down, the immune system to go up, and just have a little bit of breath, breathe and allow. I know if I take a rest or I have a really super easy day, then my HRV, it can go up like 20 good numbers back up. If you're like, I'm not sure, why would I need a rest day? How do I know when I need a rest day? Okay, here's my very scientific way to know is if you have to... If you're going up the stairs and you're really tired, legs, when you're going upstairs, is normally the sign. Like we always have tired legs. As runners, we don't actually really like walking or going upstairs because we're always tired. When I can't carry the laundry basket upstairs with tired legs, or I get to the top and I'm like, I need to back off a little bit. I need to have a rest. Little metrics to look at: your elevated morning heart rate, if you track that. Lowered HRV. Often, though, you do get an elevated heart rate after you've done maybe a big day. Mine could go up like 10 beats the next day. But as long as it trends back down again, but if it's constantly high as well, you might not quite have the balance right. How do you schedule them? Well, you just throw them in when you feel like absolutely pooped.
Yeah, there's no schedule for me. It's just like I think I said before, if I'm feeling a bit pooped and then the biometrics that I'm getting back, my HRV, resting heart rate, if they marry up with how I'm feeling, then I will. But I'm guilty. I don't really have probably as many rest days as I should. Like Ian, if you're taking hours to get out of the door, you're saying about going up the stairs being tired. If you're taking hours to get out of the door, that again is a red flag.
Mentally, if you think mentally as well. Often I go, if mentally I'm like, oh, don't want to go. I'm like, 10 minutes, Eddie. Jog to the sign. And if you don't feel like doing it, turn around and come back. And of course, you always feel better once you're out. Why do we find them so hard, do you think? I was having a think about this because I know you find them really hard. I think we find them so hard because we love running. It is like our time. For us, it's our for me, it's nobody can touch me.
Yeah.
Nobody can touch me. Nobody can talk to me. I try not to look at my phone. I do listen to stuff sometimes, but sometimes I just listen to nature. I love the quiet. I like the routine. I like the feeling, that little dopamine hit when you come back and you switch the kettle on and you're like, I've been out. I love being out. I find if I don't get out for a run, and I know lots of parents will resonate with this, if you don't get out for your run, you don't get any time basically to yourself. It is your only time that you get to yourself.
It feels like, for me, it resets the day. It kind of calibrates the day. If I don't run, then my mental health takes a bit of a hit too. So people do run, and that's probably personally why I don't really do many rest days, and there might be other people kind of walking a similar path.
You have to take that black dog for a bit of an exercise every day, don't you, basically, to keep them. And I totally get that. And I would never...
But it can be just like a few miles. I can go into Station Town and back. 3 miles, done.
You feel better. So if for you, that is the way that you feel better, I don't think you should ever feel guilty for. And if any of my clients would be like, Eddie, I just have to get out, I'm always like, I think I've got more soft in my old age as well. And I'm like, if you need, if you need to, I can try and get it a bit more. I'm not so worried about losing fitness. I know lots of people are like, if I take a rest day, I'm going to lose all my fitness. Yeah, we all know that you're going to get stronger in that rest day. So how do you schedule it then if you're like, you just take yours as like whatever? Lots of athletes tend to have Friday as their rest day or Monday as their rest day, as like either they're going to have a big weekend or they've had a big weekend and it sort of sets them up for the weekend, or they're recovering from the weekend. I think having a set day as a rest day really helps, because it's just mentally like, Friday, you're going to get up, you're going to have a shower, you're going to put on your jeans, woohoo, fancy. You might brush your hair, you might put on a little bit of lip gloss. I don't know, Gary, what you do with your beauty regime. I think just knowing, mentally setting yourself that this is the day where I don't go running, I'm going to do something different. I'm going to treat myself. Bit of coffee and cake. Bit of when you would normally go running, do something different. Meet a friend, call a friend, or read a bit of a book or something. Do something different. I think the power of you being in control of the plan rather than the other way, allowing yourself a moment to reflect on your training, think about what you've coming up. You're setting yourself a 36-mile personal challenge, or having a bit of time to do that rather than go, got to do that. And then we can suddenly think, God, my hamstring's been hurting for ages. Sometimes we need a rest day to reflect on that as well. Yeah, I think the best way to do that is having a set day. Might not always work being the same day if you work shifts or something, but sort of planning ahead and thinking that is going to be my rest day rather than, you controlling the rest day rather than being forced to take a rest day because you're a bit on your knees. I tend to have a different rest. I tend to have a rest day about probably every 10 days. And I would love to be able to say I have it when it fits in, but it does tend to be I'm just not going to have don't want to get up at 5. So I'm just not going to have a slot that day. And my God, I love it. My God, can I embrace it?
I think we can all agree, even though maybe we all kind of straddle that path a bit differently. You've got the muscle repair, the growth, injury prevention. Oh, I didn't mean to give you the bird. Injury prevention.
This is what he does. Secret signs to me.
You get that mental reset and performance boost too.
The science would say you have a rest day, you feel much better. Often I feel horrible the day after a rest day and I feel like I'm not a runner anymore and I feel like the Tin Man. But then the day after I feel like Glinda. And I'm like, you won't get that because you don't watch Wicked. But I feel so much better. So don't think, it doesn't work because I feel horrible the next day. That's quite normal to feel quite sluggish and a bit out of shape. But then the day after, often you feel better as well. Let us know. How do you do your rest days? How do you plan them? How do you find them? And if you do find rest days hard, you're in a safe space here. Remind yourself of all the stuff that is good about rest days and enjoy that well-earned cup of tea on the sofa, legs up, bit of Dallas Cowgirls. Oh, the dream. That's what I'm going to do all afternoon.
Thanks, Harrier Trail Running, for sponsoring our Strava Club and the Tales from the Trail section. Harrier is the UK's fastest growing brand for trail runners, providing specialist kit designed for superior fit, comfort and function with the best customer support. Check them out for race vests, waterproofs, poles and other trail essentials at www.harrierrunfree.co.uk, where you can also download your free How to Run an Ultra guide. Use the code T10 for 10% off site-wide, or check out their brilliant trail bundles for a special 20% off. I needed to wash my Harrier 5-litre vest at the weekend. It was minging. I had to go.
Gary, I've got a terrible confession. I took my vest off and got an outside sink. It's still in there.
Oh my goodness.
I can't face it, Gary. I keep walking past going, must empty those flow gel bottles.
Well, Strava Club's it's not bare, but they request to follow, so there's not much deeds to share. But first up is Sally Watts, 85.3 miles for the week with the longest run, 29.1 miles. Total elevation, 7,936 feet of vert. Request to follow. Next up is Chris Jackson, 76.2 miles, 27.3 longest run. Look at that vert though, 20,003 feet.
Do you think there was
vert.
There was a 14 Peaks Snowdonia race? I wonder if that was it.
Yeah, that might have been a race to get that kind of vert in that kind of mileage too. But last up is Mike Jones, 154.7 miles for the week.
No.
154.7 longest run and 26,033 feet of vert. So I've copied this from the Montane Spine Race Facebook page. So Mike completed the Montane Summer Challenger North in an impressive time of 50 hours and 58 minutes after 2 two tough attempts at the Winter Spine Challenge in North in 2023 and 2024, where he unfortunately DNF'd. This success on his third attempt makes it all the sweeter. Sensational. Fantastic, Mike.
I love a repeat offender. DNF, DNS, DNF, DNF.
Yeah. He served his time. He
Serve your time and you go back.
I think we've got two heavy flexes this week. First one is, good morning, Gary and Eddie. I hope you're both keeping well. I messaged a couple of weeks ago back regarding mine and a good friend Paul Spence upcoming charity challenge. We start Friday the 27th of June at 7 a.m. and are attempting the Yorkshire Wolds Way, Hessel to Filey, out and back. Ooh, this puts your arm back into perspective, which will be around 160 miles and 18,000 feet elevation. Woof. We are
won't be as hot. Won't be as hot.
Well, maybe. I don't know what the forecast is. We are raising funds and awareness for the charity Paul for Brain Recovery, which was set up by Paul himself after suffering a brain injury back in 2012. Paul for Brain Recovery is a community-based support and guidance service that exists to make life easier after brain injury by providing support to empower all affected by acquired brain injury. Lee, you'll be just about to start as this episode goes out. Best of luck, guys. I'll pop the charity link into the show notes if anybody would like to make a donation. Second heavy flex goes to Dan Abbott. I saw Dan at the Old County Tops. He's friend of the show and he has joined the Bob Graham Round Club too. Kudos to all our Strava Club members. Nearly 3,000 people over there crushing it week after week after week. Tales from the trails.
Hello, Eddie. Hello, Gary. Short-time listener, full-time Patreon, and first-time emailer here. I love that. Full-time Patreon is a full-time job, isn't it? I wanted to tell you my tales from the trails as you guys played such a massive part in the journey. I was introduced to the podcast by a Facebook group when I was looking for some company for my long runs. Your immediate warmth and banter was like having two little friends natter in your ears, and I was soon listening to 2 to 3 shows a day. I'd already signed up for my first ultra, the Lap, clockwise in May, and your wisdom and advice helped me prepare for the big day. Training had been harder than I thought with working full-time and 2 small children, but I laid the bricks, did what I could every day and focused on my strength training as well as practicing my food. Listening to your stories was such a huge mental boost too. After a year of planning, taking my eldest out of school for the few days prior to the race and dragging my dear friend up from London weeks after she discovered she would be battling cancer again for the 3rd time really did mean I couldn't let anyone down. I knew that this weekend was going to be a special memory with her no matter what happened. At 5 a.m. with everyone at the start line, the kids still in their pyjamas, I can say that as the sun rose in the pink sky above the lake, the bagpipes played for the start of the race, it was a special feeling I'll never forget. It was slow going at the start, but the morning was an absolute delight as I breathed and believed and took it all in. Running into Ambleside to see my kids holding a Go Mummy sign and my husband and friends waiting for me was just the best, even if the kids had eaten all the sweets beforehand. I was even feeling comfortable at the halfway checkpoint and bag drop at Troutbeck, where I stuffed my face with pizza, cashews and salt on cheese. Oh, salt on cheese? Hold a phone, that sounds amazing. A slight incident occurred when popping to the loo and as I discovered my pants were inside out and potentially causing some chaffing. I thought I should fix the problem, but it was half-assed effort as I had compression shorts. Oh my gosh, and decided not to take my shoes off. I can see that. In the battle, I fell off the toilet, smashed my face against the cubicle door. The concerned runners queuing outside quietly asking if I was okay. What a supportive community. Leaving the checkpoint with a slice of pizza and a pocket full of nuts, I went on my merry way. Darkness crept up on me when I took a wrong turn on Gummer's Hoe. Tired and a little bit lost, I developed a bad attitude. We've all done that. I think that's funny. I developed a bad attitude. I put the podcast on again to cheer me up, but it was a terrible time to hear Gary's Eminem song for the first time. I think it's always a terrible time. My mood lifted after some caffeine gels and I was finding my stride again. As it was my first ultra, I really had no clue how long it was all going to take me, but I really wanted to finish in the daylight. It had been clear I'd been enjoying myself too much, taking the selfies a little bit too much, stealing the cashew nuts. I was running behind. 8 miles to go. Darkness looming. I prepared myself. The race this year had a new mandatory kit list. Not 1, but 2 head torches. What idiot needs 2 head torches? Turns out it was me. As I pulled my A head torch out of my bag, I realised something was wrong. It had been left on, or I'd not charged it properly. No light came out. I resorted to my backup head torch, usually reserved for putting the winter bins out. Oh, we've all got ones like that, haven't we? A dull light saw me running through the forest at the end. I shadowed the woman in front of me with her superior head torch. Maybe she used her Patreon perk and invested in the Phoenix. 2026. And eventually, tired but in good spirits, crossed the finish line at 11 p.m. to a waiting husband and friend. A few tears came to my eyes when I'd realised I'd done it. To top it all off, Gary even sprinkled some kudos on my Strava for the run. So thank you, team, for the support and guidance. It may not be obvious to you how much it means to people like me out there striving to get their first ultra, but it was brilliant and I wouldn't change a thing. Hoping to see you at Lakeland 50 one year or an Ultra Trails run for 2026. Thank you, Christina. And she's put again, Patreon, just so you know, full-time Patreon, short-time listener. Well done. What she entered now, this is definitely going to escalate quickly. She's done an ultra.
Cookie jars popped well. Lakeland 50 has already been mentioned.
Lakeland 50, Lakeland 100. Here we go. Love it. What a story. What an inspiration. Well done. Hope your kids recovered from their sugar high.
We've got a hot review. This one comes in from Chris Alderson. I was recommended your podcast over 18 months ago. Eddie was in the midst of spine training.
Oh, that was a long time ago.
Yeah. But when I realised I enjoyed your stories and training as much as the guests, I knew I had to binge in order. Life has been busy. Left a cushy job to set up my own business. Oh my goodness me, kudos for doing that. And I have had some injuries along the way, so the catch up has been slow, but I finally caught up a couple of weeks ago, fittingly in time to see Gary celebrating Sunderland's promotion. As a massive Geordie, I'm looking forward to the 6 points in the derbies next season. The brilliant guests, great advice, and meandering nature of the show means it's always there as a welcome companion, and it's already weird that there is not always new content to listen to. Whilst Eddie's Spine and Winter 200 runs and Gary's Dragons back race are always inspiring, the madness of Alex Bance's challenge stood out as a special episode for me. Oh my goodness me, I remember that one. Proving that with the right why, the sky can truly be the limit to our achievements. Looking forward to the next 150 episodes and also sharing a couple of miles with Gary on the 13 valleys before he leaves me for dust. Oh my goodness, I don't know. I wasn't leaving anybody for dust on last year's 13 valleys. Thanks for that, Chris. Love a review.
If you're thinking you're not left a review, you don't need to leave a review. We don't need that. We don't thrive off that. We don't send them to each other saying, look what this person said. Oh, no. Just just share, subscribe, 5 stars. Don't bother with 4.3 stars.
As much as I don't want to agree with Chris, I think he might be right about the 6 points too. It's going to be a big ask for Sunderland. Thank you, Protein Rebel, for bringing us home. Gentle on your stomach, driving your performance. Whether you're trying to get a PB or training for your first marathon or completing your 10th ultra, Protein Rebel's products are easy to digest with no artificial additives, providing both performance and overall health benefits. And shout out to the first ever Protein Rebel running festival. It's been held on the 5th of July in Cheshire. There's going to be a 10k trail run followed by 2 hours of inspirational speakers, including Laura Swanton Ruvelin, Ben Bungle Taylor, Rhino Boy Chris, and more. There's also going to be a 2.5k fun run, mini athletics for kids, on-site calf, and a massage tent, and much, much more.
I listen to The Rest is Politics because Bryn is always so dismayed by my lack of current news.
It's quite depressing at the moment, to be honest. It's not.
Yeah, but as I was listening to it, I was such a smug runner, and I was like, I am so, come on, ask me a question. And I went back and I started quite an educated conversation over lunch. I've only listened to one. I'm already pretty much the local MP now.
The only problem with the politics podcast, if you miss it for 4 days, boom.
Then,
so much has happened, especially this day and age. You know, I'm not going to say which side of the political sphere I'm on, but someone like, say, Donald Trump, he could say something really spectacularly kind of terrible one day, and the news can't keep up with him because he'd say something crazy the next day too. It's like
our podcast, Gary. We just can't. It's hard to keep up with the hard-hitting headlines. They've got another great story about the flow gel. Can we slip it in here? Do you mind?
I don't mind.
Are you running? So I didn't do the flow gel quite upright, and I put double bottles. Like, I squished it against my boob and my arm. It went all over my hand.
Oh, sticky trails.
Down my arm. Sticky, so hot, so sticky. But I was most sad because I was like, how much money is that? That's like
10
40
quid.
grams of carbs. I was like licking my arm to try and get the carbs off my arm. Anyway, went past a little village church and thought there's always a tap, isn't there, at a church, so I can wash my hands, because they were like, so I was literally like sticking hedges to them as I was running past. And I didn't realize it was like a National Trust church. Not National Trust, but it was like a visit. There was a woman sitting in this little box. She was just like, oh, would you like to visit the church? Me a match plate. I was like, no, thanks. I just wanted a tap. And she's like, oh, I don't know. There isn't one. She's like, you can have some of my water if you like. She had a little water bottle. I was like, no, I'm touched. But then she brought out this massive tub of wet wipes. She said, I've got all these wet wipes. Why did she have all those wet wipes in the church? And I was like, oh my God, that would be amazing. And I said, I just need one. She was like, I don't think you do. I think you need quite a few. I was like, I'm going to pop in here all the time. Off I went, wet wiped every crevice. Felt so much better. Anyway.
Well, that's blown my mind. I thought all churches had a tap.
Me too, but this is like a really old, like middle-aged church that must have probably, I don't know, do my research on local history.
We've got a listener's question. Yeah, and if you have got a question for the co-hosts, then send them in to hello@teaandtrails.com. But this week, our question comes from Hannah Hogren Johnson. Hello, Eddie and Gary. First of all, I love the podcast. It's an endless source of entertainment and information. Plus, I feel I am now part of a lovely, caring community without actually having met anyone in person, but a few fellow snood wearers at events. My question is, if you had to pin down your S&C to 5 moves, which ones would you keep? As someone who fails weekly to get my session in, this could become my non-negotiables. Oh, I always just go for the guns, Eddie. Guns and pecs.
Yeah, I think just do bicep curls. Bicep curls, upright rows, shoulder presses, to failure, the heaviest weights, and then just drop them on the floor. Yeah. Keep it super simple. I don't think you need to do more than 5 moves in the gym, actually. Yeah. Let's not complicate this. And I'm going to keep this, get your pencil out, record this bit, save this bit, note where you're on the podcast. This is basically what you need to do. Split squat or a squat.
Yeah.
Single leg deadlift. Step ups. If you can add weight to the step ups, even better. Calf raises, non-negotiable. Bent leg, straight leg, and some sort of side plank for that lateral control. So if you can just do a side plank. You can do a leg raise, single leg raise, side plank. You can do a hip drop. You can do press up to side plank. Side plank is such a good exercise for a runner and often neglected. Front plank, you put a lot of pressure on the front plank, especially if you're a woman. I think actually a side plank is better because you're using the glutes, you're using the hamstrings as well. So super simple. That's what I would do. Those would be my non-negotiable. You can change them up. You can make them a bit different. You can do different versions of squats. You can do different weights. You can do different reps. We're not going to go in that. But if you were going to go like, I'm not sure what to do in the gym, what can I do? Here's your 5 exercises. Split squat or squat, single leg deadlift, step ups, if you can do weights, that's gold standard, calf raises, single leg and bent leg, and some sort of side plank variation. You can add a bit of weight with that too.
I love the single leg deadlift.
It's everything as a runner that we're terrible at. The balance, the control, not using momentum. This is what, because my kids do their little gym program sometimes with me. And I'm like, you can't just use momentum. The single leg deadlift is all about control and feeling that wobble and making the hamstring work and the glute work as well. Not just like using the hinge of the hip to go up and down. But
I think it's harder too, isn't it? Sometimes with the deadlift, you've got to be so careful with your back. So the single leg, much more forgiving.
And it's absolutely running specific as well. There we go, Hannah. Hope that helps.
Good shout with the calf raises. I'd missed that off my little list of 5 that I do. It would have been 6 or 7 if I had my way.
Well, this is our biggest what's coming up ever, Gary, because this is the biggest thing the podcast has ever done.
Yeah, ever. I think about
like when this podcast,
when the podcast started to where it's going to be on Saturday night. Blows my mind.
What's going to be our entrance music for the podcast? We're going to be off stage. We're going to come on stage.
I could be so good for you. Is it Dennis Waterman? Love you like you want me to.
I was thinking AC/DC Thunderstruck with a bit of high kicks.
Dennis Waterman.
I was going to come up through the crowd. Thunder.
You'd have a Taylor Swift stage where she dives under it. Imagine that.
Oh no, she comes up, doesn't she come up? And then you whip my long skirt off, and I've got like a sequin mini dress. But actually, I don't. I just have my like North Face horrible sweaty running t-shirt because
That's not
we'll all
washed.
have run 50k with no showers. That's so great. I love it. Everyone's going to smell as bad as me. Yeah,
Caused some controversy, the no showers.
Oh,
Fun
come
times.
on, it's all part of it. Let's just look at Cooper Groby. I will have a stash of wet wipes if anyone just wants to take the edge off, as we say. I'm feeling about the whole experience.
I know I'm going to be super scared on Saturday. Currently, I am not nervous. I'm looking forward to it. I think I processed it mentally. It's work, and I'm hoping
It's going to
that
happen. It's gonna happen.
Like, because currently the whole year has been, we do London Marathon. Well, there's all been these distractions in front of everything. And the way I process stuff, I can't really think about Lakeland 100 until this is done. And I couldn't think about this until Swaledale was done. So now there's no distractions. It is coming at me like a steam train. That's
Just like me when we meet.
But when I did my test run, speaking to the school kids with Robbo, I was quite nervous beforehand, but then it was okay. Cram everything in during the week because who knows what's going to happen on the weekend. I'm hoping we can enjoy some trails on Friday. Saturday we will because we plan to be out en route, high-fiving and serving up cups of tea. I'm going to be there Sunday too, and I'm even going to be there Monday. So I might just fill my boots with Lakeland trails.
Fill your boots and your lecky poles.
Well, it's Esme's birthday, so I've got to be mindful of balancing everything, but I can't. We're going off for some Indian street food on Sunday night in Keswick.
I was going to say, don't do that Friday night.
But yeah, I packed my tin of links just for something like a commando shower with some big wet wipes.
Oh, I love a bit. When my kids, when I go in the morning in the bathroom, I'm like, whoa. Oh, I don't think they wash. They just literally just spray links all over themselves.
That's how you should do it.
They do smell. Some teenagers smell sensational, though. They're not clean, but they do smell incredible. Well, I'm going to do one session. I was going to do it today, but as we said at the beginning, I've not had any sleep, and so I'm living on tea. So I'm going to try and have a little nap, and I'll just see how I feel a bit later. Only got 2 kids here this week. Tell you what, 3 to 2.
Easy.
We were out the door. We had 10 minutes to spare before we had to leave for school this morning. Who's the one holding us up in the morning? One's off on an activity few days.
Yeah, like a Duke of Edinburgh or just
No, he's a little bit, it's like, outdoor red, sort of like canoeing, climbing.
Oh, I would love that.
I said, you are going to be the boy from the mountains meets.
Yeah.
I said, you are going to have, because he didn't really get like what it was. And I was like, this is a hilarious story. This is a bit overshared. I try not to share too much about my kids now. They're getting older, but this is such a lovely story. So he had a little list of all the stuff he had to pack. And being a body, like, it's like tracksuits, football kit, a couple of pairs of trainers, pajamas, that sort of thing. And he wanted to work through his list and do it himself because they were very when we were in France, they did a lot of like ski camps and they used to go away a lot. And they'd done a lot of school trips away. In France, you do a lot of classe de mer and classe de ski, and they take them away for 2 weeks, or all kids do it, classe de mer at the end of primary school, and you have no contact with them for 2 weeks, literally nothing. They don't have any contact with you, and you just get like the odd, they have to send postcards. It's proper, it's a real French experience. He wanted to pack his own bag. And then in the evening, I went up and I was like, should we just have a quick check of what's in the bag? Have you packed some pants? That sort of thing. I said, it's very full. You haven't got your sleeping bag in there. He said, it's totally full. Don't undo it, Mum. It took me ages to do it up. And I said, why is it so hot? What's in there? He'd got his goal from the garden, dismantled it, and got it wedged, packed it into the bag. And I was like,
incredible.
Can't take your football goal. But I was like, this is brilliant. This is hilarious. And so he was like, I know, Mum. I just thought I might try it.
Try me luck.
Anyway, he has taken his football, of course. But so I only got 2. Gosh, it makes it a little bit easier. Less cooking, less cleaning. I don't know why. You just take one out of.
Oh, no, I cook the same. We just have bigger portions.
I made a macaroni cheese last night for I think normally like a whole packet of pasta is normally what we'd eat. And but then I was like, there was stuff left, which there never normally is as well. But my heart does hurt. I don't like them when there's one away and you walk past the bedroom and you're like, oh, my little angel. Anyway,
you wear like fly away to uni, Eddie.
Oh, that must take a lot of getting used to.
Yeah.
But also A little bit. There's the freedom, isn't there? Then you want them, they've got to go. You know, you didn't have them for them to, even though I say to mine, you're never leaving.
Or you cherish the holidays when they're back, though.
Oh, when they come back. Yeah. Whatever running we get in over the weekend, the most important thing is that everybody else gets a great run and that we get to give everybody high fives and cups of tea. That's what it's all about. I don't want to turn up knackered. Like, if I did my normal running week, by the time I got to Friday, I'd be like, like mentally and physically. So I want to keep, start topping up my social battery a little bit as well, so that I can, I don't turn up going.
Seems fitting with this week's Brew with the coaches being book rescued.
Where's Eddie? She's in the tent asleep. I'm bringing my big tent, Gary. I'm bringing my big party tent. I'm bringing the big kids speaker. So if you're looking for Eddie, that's where the party's at. Gary's tent, probably quite small, quiet.
One man.
Sort of, there'll be like old tins around it, old beer cans and stuff. Just listen for the bit of AC/DC. You can find me, come find where the party's at. Kettle will be on.
We'll have a noise complaint, Eddie. We'll have a noise complaint.
Absolutely. I want Shane to come and say, Eddie, everybody's got to do a race tomorrow. Can you keep it down? And I'm just going to, as he's talking, I'm going to turn it up louder. Boom, 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 boom.
Oh, no, Disney classics.
Looking forward to it. Thanks for tuning in. If you're still running, we love you. If you're lifting in the gym, put those weights up a little bit. If you're driving in the car, make sure you're driving at the speed limit. Hope you've got a flask of tea. If you're on the way to the Tea and Trails Ultra, is this going to go out on the Friday? Yeah, Friday. If you're on your way, give us a toot toot.
Yeah, time for one last minute bag check. Don't forget your Kit Kats or whatever it is you're hoping to gorge on over the trail.
Or you bringing us treats. Don't forget treats for Eddie and Gary. Tea bags.
What could it be? Someone brings me a bounty. I'll be pretty happy with that.
Peanut M&Ms, Lime Bar, Canada Diet Cokes, chilled.
Snickers.
Just bring me a cup of tea.
I can't have Diet Coke.
Whoever's still in the party tent at 4 a.m.
Iron Brew, Tizer. Yeah, a bit more chasers.
You couldn't have Diet Coke.
Nope, caffeine.
Have one.
No good for Gary.
Scampi fries.
The old bacon ones.
Right, if you're listening
fries.
on the way, stop off at that. Oh God, it's making my tummy rumble. Stop off at the service station. We're only joking. We just want you there. You don't need to bring us stuff. That's what my mum always says when I say, "What can I bring?" I don't. But then when I get, she's like, "Yeah, where's my treats?" Thanks to X Miles for Precision Hydration, Phoenix Light UK, Harrier Trail Running, and Protein Rebel for sponsoring this week's show. Don't forget discount codes T102025 for Shocks, T15 for Protein Rebel, T102025 for Precision Hydration, and T10 for Harrier Trail Running. Thanks to all our partners and patrons. We're going to meet a lot of you this weekend. So exciting. Couldn't do this without you and your ongoing support.
Good luck to everybody out on the trails, racing, training, recce, solo, miles and miles with mates. Yes, we cannot wait to see everybody who's coming to the Tea and Trails Ultra. It's shocking, but people might be doing other races too, Eddie. I cannot believe it. But yeah, good luck to everybody. You might be doing the NABFORD's Pennine 39 or the Punk Panthers Ultra Unique. Loads of other races going on too. Whatever you are doing, let the trail rise to meet you and the wind always be on your back. Be kind to future self. Breathe and believe. Roll with the joy and the miles will look after themselves. My name is Gary Thwaites.
And I'm Eddie Sutton.
And that was the Tea and Trails podcast.